All right, been a while. Been busy with traveling. Did a lot of. I actually had several film festivals that I went to. Independent filmmaker. Um, have a lot of fun with that. I had a lot of family time. I'm also a teacher, so spring break we had a lot of fun camping. Celebrated my birthday, so did more camping. Had a lot of stuff going on since my last broadcast. So that and I've been just enjoying building the ship without the pressure of having to do this. Yeah, okay, I'm a filmmaker. I love acting and everything. I love performing, but I don't feel like I do all that well live like I'm doing now. But I don't care. It's fine. Um, so this kind of gives me a little pressure, and I don't have time to prepare so much for these things. So I think that gives me a little bit more psyched out. But anyways, let me just jump to the point here. I'll give you guys an update on everything I was doing since we last saw each other. I built a lot of these rooms here on C deck. Uh, so as you can see, just did doing the basic layouts and everything. I think when I stopped streaming, we were at the back of the ship. I was working on one of the staircases. Um, let's see, where are we? Yeah, so since then I did a lot of work on going outside and starting to prepare everything in the aft section of the ship. So that kind of got me started going down to D deck and E deck where I am now. I stretched across the whole starboard side of E deck with the rooms, which we'll go over. Um, but yeah, so some of the fun stuff I had was the number four hatch here. I had to realign them based on my original placements when I came down here and was setting up all the stuff down below and everything and trying to figure out where the hatches go. I didn't place them exactly where they needed to be, so I had to shift everything inside uh, back some and just kind of do that a little bit. So let's head on in here. So now we're in the back of the ship. This is where I started doing a lot of my work now. The third class smoke room and general room are here. So I started putting in beams and stuff. I think these yellow blocks are just simply for me to help keep measurements while I put in the lights and everything. But with everything, I start doing something and then I get a little bit I get a little bit bored on it and I move on. I need to focus on one task and complete it. But my brain doesn't work that way. I'm so uh, scatterbrained in a lot of ways that and I can sit and focus, but I don't know. I put in what I needed to put in for my brain, and then I continued moving on. I left the back of this. This is all this stuff here, the steering gear and everything. I haven't put any of that in yet because I got to do research on that. So this took me to this staircase here, which led me down to D deck, and that's when I decided to start putting in. That's B deck. Let me go here. Started putting in all these rooms in the back. So started laying them all out. They're all really really small rooms. I think these are all the stores and stuff back here, right? Yeah. And then from there, I think I just started expanding D deck down the starboard side and connecting it to here. I already had a lot of this done. Had to restructure. This is hatch number four on the starboard side. So this is when I don't think I was restructuring. I think once I got down to E deck, I realized I needed to redo this hatch. Same thing on this side, hatch number four on the port side. Yeah, so just started laying out rooms. Didn't spend too much time. There's a lot of stuff here yet that just didn't want to put in. I was focusing on passenger rooms. So then I jumped down to E deck. Started having a lot of fun with E deck. putting in all the back rooms here. And I just started making my way all the way down. Let me go back to D deck real quick. Is that where this interesting? Ah, ha, ha, ha. So this I thought was pretty interesting. Let me go back up to D deck real quick as I was putting in. They have like these hospital wings and stuff. Can I jump over this wall? Let's see here. I'm gonna fly. Where's it at? There it is. No, that's my. Yeah. Okay. So it's on the other side of that. Yeah. This was pretty funny. I thought that was hilarious. The hospital areas and stuff like that. But they had a padded room on the Titanic. So I guess, you know, if you a really unruly passenger, they would just kind of shove them in the padding room. And when I was looking at the pictures and everything, it looked like it was, you know, this is pretty much about accurate. Like just enough room for standing or whatever. But all the rooms were padded. And of course, in Minecraft, I can only really put, you know, like a little banner there. Can't put anything there now because this, you know, takes up the space or whatever. But that's my padded room. Let's jump down to E deck. I'm going to roll through this pretty quickly because I just wanted to kind of give an update on where I've been. And I kind of want to get back to just kind of enjoying the game a little bit. I've been doing a lot of research today on something we'll talk about in a minute. So, started getting all these rooms in on E deck. So, like I did with the bow of the ship, I kind of started after I put in all my boilers and everything. I went to the bow of the ship and just built it from, you know, the bottom decks up. So all of these the rooms in the front of the ship on my ship are pretty much done. And so the middle section is taking a while, obviously, because it's super, super long. So then I just started kind of doing the same premise here, where, you know, once I got the C deck, I just said, hey, I'm going to hop over and go down and complete the whole stern of the ship. And then once I got to E deck, you know, then I started moving. I had so much fun moving towards the front of the ship that I just kind of kept going with it. You know, I started putting in beds and I realized, hey, I need to start putting in doors, figuring out what I'm going to do with my bulkheads and how they look, because, you know, these rooms push right up against the bulkhead. And so, you know, my bulkheads that I put in looked like this, but I wanted it to look nicer when you're in the room since it's pressed up against the bulkhead. So I kind of used this guy here. Looks a little bit fancier, I think. Still moving on. Still got to fill in all the walls and everything. Playing around with different railing designs. Moving through. Got the ladies' bathroom. Started playing around some more. My niece and nephew showed me how to build a toilet in Minecraft, but I don't think I actually have the space for it, so I kind of just put a slab there. And I'm using, I know the walls and stuff aren't what they looked like on the Titanic, but you know, I'm just using blue at the moment and the pink to differentiate between the male and female restrooms. And then the flooring, from what I've gathered in a lot of the restrooms, pretty much looked with that black and white pattern that was in the hallways I've used before. So I've been using this kind of flooring for my my lavatories, and I've been using the red. A lot of I guess third class and stuff like that, these rooms they had in the hallways and in the rooms themselves had red flooring until we get to Molly Brown's room. From what I gather, her flooring was more of kind of like a greenish color. So when I do eventually get around to really detailing these rooms, I'll change out the flooring if I need to. But I'm feeling kind of the need now to just build them up and leave them how I built it, and then update them as time goes by. I kind of want to get the bigger picture done instead of just spending so much time nitpicking details at the moment, if that makes sense. Because if I nitpick details on this room here, yeah, I could spend a year working on that room alone and neglect the rest of my ship. And I want to get the ship done and then go through and really take the time and invest them into the passengers and let the passengers tell me where to go with my room design, because the focus, I want it to really be a historical museum where you learn about the passengers on the ship. And there's so much stuff out there that talks a lot about the design of the ship and everything, which I find is great and beautiful. But my brain in particular works more towards and I'm not saying the other researchers don't, but a lot of people focus on the passengers as well. Don't get me wrong. My brain really kind of focuses on that more so than what color the floor was. Yeah, I want to get it accurate, but anyways, starting to babble a little bit. I'll move on, and I'll get to that more too about how I'm learning about the passengers. So the flooring at some point does switch over to this cool wood decking, and I think this is the third class entrance, second class entrance. It should be. I think we're right here now on the ship. And there's one across the way. So then I just kept going, working. I just ended up filling in both sides of the ship. This is E deck now, port side, and it's really neat how it kind of just snakes around. And this is oh gosh, I should know this. Scotland Road. Is that what it's called? I don't think it's on this map, but it's called. Let me just Google it so I can get it right for you. Yeah, the Scotland Road. That's what they called it. It's the crew alleyway. It's a big, giant, long corridor that the crew was able to walk down. Gets them from like basically the front of the ship to the back of the ship. This whole thing, and as they're walking, you know, down here, they're able to go through these doors, which lead them into this cool little area that I started building. Haven't built it too much, but this is right above the reciprocating engines. So these are the tops of the pistons here, and there's, you know, railings I'll put in. There's more decking. You can see I started putting in decking here, staircases leading down, and that'll lead through all these, you know, the piping and stuff down into the engine room where the crew could work. So that's all really cool. I think I stopped building on the port side, and then I went over here because now this was a nightmare designing these rooms, figuring these rooms out. There's Molly Brown's room. Going from here, the front of the ship, all the way back. And just real quick, I won't spend too much time on that, because unless you want to DM me, I'll give you more details. But that's basically from you know, Bulkhead K all the way down to right here at the front of the ship. And what I did was I broke it down into sections. You know, I said, okay, this is not going to worry about that room at the moment. You know, here's this pattern here, repeats here, here, here. And then we have this new pattern here with an ash place. So with the ash hoist. And so that's where they would take the ash. From what I was reading, those ash hoists, it's a crane that would pull the ash up from the bottom. And so we have this two ash places here. There's one here and one, oops, I hit the arrow, sorry. There's two ash places in this large section. There's the other one here. And then, we have the same pattern here. And the pattern's pretty much always the same until we get to these guys here. There's a middle doorway that goes in between these two rooms, and that doorway is not here. And at this point, the beds going towards the back of the ship all run this kind of same pattern, but after here, you start getting beds facing different ways and stuff. So I really had to pay attention to detail where I was putting my beds. And I used my handy little spreadsheet. Let me throw that up for you guys. You can see. I love this thing. So this spreadsheet is, let me get it large here so I can see it. I plugged in my Minecraft coordinate where I wanted to start. So it's 2063. So that's all the way at the back here at Bulkhead K. Boom. So you see there's 2063. And then I went all the way to the front of the ship where I needed to stop and put in 1896. So that's 167 blocks that I had to go. And then from there I had this little, beautiful little, just adds it for me and does the math for me and tells me where to put the blocks. So then I walked down on my plans and I said, okay, I got a wall, which is 2 blocks. I'm going to make that room 2 blocks. Then I have another wall. Then a hallway is going to be 1 block wide. The walls 1 block wide. E67 is going to be 3 blocks. That's how big the rooms are. I want all the rooms to be 3 blocks. Some of them ended up having to be 2. And then I just kept going down. I just looked at the map. I have it printed on my desk, and I just said, okay, 3, 1, 1, 1. I'll make the ash room 2, 1, 2, and then just kept going down until I got to the end, and then it told me, you know, hey, look, you're ending at 1895. You're too far. I need to end it at 8. So then I went through and tweaked a couple things and said, okay, I'll make that room 2 blocks, and I got that. And then from there, I went into my game, and that's when I started, you know, just kind of looking here, and I would use a sea lantern, and I would just go, okay, 2060, boom, and I would put the, you know, map it out on the wall first, just to make sure I got the spacing right, and then I went through, once I realized, hey, yeah, my spreadsheet worked, I got it all calculated out, then it was just easy to just fill in the walls, fill in the floors, and then put the beds where they needed to go, put the doors swinging the way they're supposed to go. Yeah, so that was really cool. I was, you know, kind of pat myself on the back there. I was really proud of myself for figuring that one out. Yeah, so here's E23, Molly Brown's room, and I'm gonna put, you know, the book there. It'll open it up. You'll be able to read all about her and everything, like I want to do for everybody's room. So this really got me. I'm really starting to move into. I want to research the people, and so I found this really cool thing called the cave list. Okay, and I was able to print this out. Now the cave list is a list of like the first class passengers, and I was reading. They got this really cool thing on Encyclopedia Titanica. It's a whole in-depth look of a thorough analysis of the cave list, and the cave list was a list that was found on Herbert Cave. Herbert Cave was one of the stewards. He served in the dining room in the first class, and they recovered this list on his body. And from what I've read, also there was, they have other copies of the cave list as well. But this is it's the third proof. So the first proof, the second proof, the third proof. This is the third proof of the list, and they think that this is not, it's not the final list, but this is the last proof, if that makes sense. So there's and it was, from what I was reading, the leading theory is they printed this list, I think, on April 8th, and they used this as a way to make sure they got the passengers' baggages to the proper locations, because they would do a thing called luggage forwarding. So if you imagine having all, you know, 1,000 passengers, 2,000 passengers show up with all of their luggage that day, and now you have to load all of that luggage in the matter of a couple hours before you sail. That's good. It's going to be really, really hard. So White Star Lines actually encouraged people, send your luggage in advance, send it in advance, send it in advance, and they would load it beforehand. Even to the point where some of the people on the cave list, I guess they had forwarded their luggage there. Their luggage got loaded, and then at the last minute, they canceled their trip on Titanic, and they ended up sailing on Olympic or something. But their luggage was on Titanic because they didn't have enough time to pull it off and stuff like that. So there's some really cool things. So that's what they believe the cave list was. Is the cave list was used for the crew to load baggage in preload baggage into the rooms. But there's a lot of, you know, discrepancies and stuff I got highlighting on here because, you know, people swapped. There was one room, some of the rooms that I was building on C deck, like working on C-132, was purchased by Norman Craig. But Norman Craig, he was friends with the Cavendish family, which they're on the cave list as being C-46. And C-46 is a much smaller room than C-132. So they think that, you know, since they bought the tickets at the same time, they probably just made the error and put the wrong room numbers there. And then, you know, so the Cavendish family actually was in C-132, and Norman was supposed to be in C-46, but he canceled and did not go on the Titanic. So this reading this cave list and really starting to dive into the passengers is getting me excited about really starting to get this thing moving and finished. So, yeah, that's a lot of the work I've done so far. I'm gonna hop off and keep doing the work because it's too much fun. I love it. So yeah, until next time, take care.